Just gonna start talking. Hello, everybody. Buddy, how are you doing today, Bible? And let's open the chat here. Hello, everybody. How are we doing today? I'm your host, Cryptidmasterkd. And I'm the terrifying creature. And I'm the terrifying creature here, people. And the shaman of shamans. Here, live and now, people. To give you all some cryptid fun. And I'd like to welcome you all. Hello, everybody. How we doing? I am your host, your legendary shaman, who is here and now to tell you and who's here today to not only I'm not just here to show my beautiful cryptid master face here, people. And I'm here, people, to tell you some special stories. Cryptid stories. Stories of the light side, the dark, the good side. And I'm here to let you all know that you are, and I want you all, before we get into our good stories today, people, I want you all to like, comment, and subscribe, and join the cryptid crew here, people. I want everybody to help me with my goal. I'm gonna reach 1,000 subscribers this year, and I'm gonna do it. Okay? I'm gonna do it. We're all gonna be here, and we're all gonna have a lot of fun here on the channel. So, with that out of the way, I'd like to thank you all for coming to the channel. We got a like here, people. Anyway, we got someone joining our podcast. Yes! Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel indeed. I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank you for having fun with us today. Now, how about some stories? Now, these stories are real people who had encounters with terrifying beasts and mystical beings. People who have long since, they've all been they've all had experiences in their lives. They've all had experiences they can't quite, that they can't explain. These people have seen things no one should ever see, and yet no one can explain. Now, without further ado, like, comment, subscribe, and all that, but without further ado, how about we get into some stories? Because that's what you all are here, along for some theories of what could have happened and where maybe these creatures came from. But let's get to that in a bit. Alright, so our first story is a story about a monster that's made from magic. A terrifying creature. A creature that Native Americans have feared for centuries. A creature they have dreaded even speaking of. A beast with magic abilities and power beyond anybody's comprehension. And they dare not speak its name, as it'll draw it to you. This creature is called Yadushiat, or Skinwalkers. The story I'm gonna tell you takes place in Illinois. To a pair of siblings who had an encounter with this legendary beast, and who also were lucky enough to get away to tell the tale. So, here's the story now, people. The story goes back, I think, in early 2017. Our eyewitness, whose name is Michaela. Michaela and her brother and her father lived in a nice house in the middle of the wilderness. A quiet community. Not a community, really. It's not a community at all. It's simple. They lived in a house. What am I saying? Sorry, I get mixed up. Anyway. Ooh, we got another one coming on, people. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the live stream, people. Please don't forget to leave, comment, subscribe, and leave it in the chat. Anyway, what happened this particular time you see, Michaela and her beloved. Ooh, we got a chat, people. We got our first like in the chat. Okay. So, our first, the two twins, siblings, they have half-blooded Cherokee. And their father and mother broke up years ago. So they were kind of the product of a broken up family. And anyway, they pretty much lived happily in this tiny little house in the forest. Pretty much living with their father, and they were going to school. And anyway, they went this night, which changed their life forever, started normally. Their dog, Cicero, being a dog, had to use the potty room. So she took her dog Cicero and and went downstairs and went outside to let the dog do his business. And pretty much everything was calm. The sound of the evening was out. Everything was going great. And pretty much it was a very, very good time. But, okay. Anyway, according to Michaela, Cicero, the dog, who she says was a love ball, an awesome dog, a dog that they loved very much. According to her, the dog Cicero had problems. Ooh, greetings from Cryptid Fangirl. Hey there, welcome to the chat. Anyway, the dog was having a little bit of problems, doing his business. So, Michaela took her dog whistle and whistled for him. This loud whistle, which you'll understand was a big mistake later down in the video. Anyway, she whistled for her dog, unknowing that in the forest something wicked was lurking, and soon she would find out what this was. She took her, sorry, little slip in the tucker there. Anyway, all of a sudden, Cicero the dog began feeling just off. He began behaving unnatural. He began acting like he was scared. And started rubbing against her legs and trying to get in the middle, like a scared dog. And she knew something was very wrong. So, all of a sudden, Michaela got this feeling. That feeling you get when you're being watched. How many of you have had that kind of feeling? Leave it in the chat right now. Leave it in the chat if you've had that feeling when you're in the forest and you get that feeling that you're being watched. Like something is just wrong. Leave it in the chat right now. This very minute. Go ahead. It's free. Anyway, with that out of the way, she felt like she was being watched, and all of a sudden, according to her, she got fixated on this one tree here. So, she looked over at the tree, and this creature peers out from behind the tree, growling and grunting. And then she could see its eyes, and they were unnatural. One point of fact here, people, is you should never, ever, ever look a skinwalker in the eye. They have more power over you doing that, and they can cause paralysis with their vision, and pretty much they can, create very big time feelings of dread and make you just freeze. That's why skinwalkers are so dangerous and why you should never look them in the eye. Anyway, she said she looked at this creature and all these thinking started coming to her. She was seeing a creature this thing wasn't natural. It wasn't a coyote quite. It wasn't a bear, cougar, whatever. And this thing just didn't make any sense. It became like you're looking at something that's completely evil. The body was all wrong. The it had hair, tufts of fur all over it. It looked kind of like a not quite an animal and yet not quite a human. And it just peered out from behind the tree. And she knew for a fact, because keep in mind, I should have added this earlier, but her grandmother was a medicine woman, a good medicine woman, not like a skinwalker, but she was what known as a shaman, a a good medicine woman, and she knew all about these creatures, all about these monsters that go lurk in the night. She shared these stories with Michaela and her brother Brian. So she, upon seeing this, realized what she was looking at. And she knew that this thing was about to charge. This thing was about to attack. So, with Cicero right beside her, she turned around and ran into the house. Cicero was with her, and he hid under the table. I mean, this dog was scared. I mean, you can imagine people being a dog, and you feel that because dogs are very sensitive to the paranormal. That's something you all need to keep in mind. They're very sensitive with the paranormal. So, when she got inside, she began, she pretty much started barricading every door, locking every door, every window. And her brother Brian comes down from in the kitchen and says, Michaela, what's going on? And Michaela tells him that there's this creature outside. And she thinks she knows what it is. Even during the interview, you see, when she was telling this story, she said that as she was starting to say its name, she kind of hesitated when saying it because, you know how it is. It's to Native Americans, you see, it's very taboo to talk about skinwalkers. According to them, if you speak its name, it'll give them power and draw them to you. So if you're in an area where there's a lot of skinwalker activity, don't say its name, okay? Say something like the dark shamans or the wicked ones. It's easy. It's pretty much a survival skill. Now, our friend Michaela here. Michaela was pretty much terrified. When her brother looked at her, she was very much terrified. And you could just see the feelings of terror. And she told him, there's this creature outside. There's this creature, and it's... You remember the stories grandmother used to tell us? That old Navajo legend? Now keep in mind, this doesn't take place in Navajo land. This takes place because they're both Cherokee. They're both Cherokee, and they have and they've been shared by their grandmothers, these legends. So she knew what this creature was. Yeah. A new guy. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. I'm glad you're enjoying my story. And please leave that like and subscribe and share this with others. Okay. As I was saying, Michaela told her brother what it was, that it was a skinwalker. And her brother, Brian, was a little skeptic at first. She was a little skeptic, and also, he was like, oh, a skinwalker, really? Maybe it was something you misidentified. Because take it from me, folks, nobody truly believes in these creatures until one's staring at them right in the eye. I mean, you all can believe what you want, but that's okay. Anyway, just as he was about to, go upstairs, all of a sudden, in front of the blinds in the living room, this outline of this creature, this outline of this humanoid creature started moving across the windows, and he could clearly see this thing, and they could hear like tapping, and they could hear growling, like a low guttural growl. And according to them, the creature went to the front porch and started trying to open the door. Tried jiggling the knob, trying to open the door. And oh, thank you. Anyway, the creature pretty much was trying to open the door. Because keep in mind, people, skinwalkers are humans, or were human at one time. So they know how to operate, doors and stuff. And so Brian, her brother, goes up to the door and locks it tight, just in time. He locks it up, and just when he does that, the creature, the skinwalker, starts doing something that they have been known to do, and you must not fall for this if you are in that territory or in the woods at night. You must not fall for this. It could save your life not falling for it. The creature, as he locked the door, began mimicking the voice down to the last note, the voice of his grandfather. It started mimicking the voice of his grandfather. And it kept saying, like, to him, open the door. You should let me in. You're being disrespectful. And according to Brian, it kind of put you kind of in a trance, like it was eating your soul. It just put terror in you. It pretty much became a fact back at that moment that, this is gonna get ugly. But and he was starting, I don't know if he noticed this or whatever, but he started putting his hand towards the handle. It started, he, clearly this was a form of mind control, but Brian started putting his hand towards the, uh, towards the door handle, like and was set like he was gonna unlock it. He was gonna unlock the door. And Michaela stopped them just in time, too. You see, according to legend, skinwalkers can't just come in your house. They have to be like a vampire in folklore and movies. They have to be invited in. You have to invite them in to for them to get you. It needs permission to, it needs permission to come and get into your house. Anyway, and so they pretty much barricaded themselves inside that night. And all through the night, this thing was pounding on the door, tapping, harassing basically. But they were able to, stand the night. They were able to wait until sunrise, because you have to understand, skinwalkers are nocturnal predators. Like any animal like that, they can't exactly be out in sunlight. So they basically, they pretty much, when the sun rose, it was gone. It retreated back into the woods. Later that same day, that morning, they told their dad, because they were living with their dad at this time. They were in their early 20s, but they were still in school. So, they told him everything that had happened that night. And he kind of brushed them off. He didn't really believe it. Their dad didn't really believe him. I mean, you can imagine how that must feel when you've seen something that terrifying, and your parent doesn't believe you. That's what these things take advantage of. That's why what they're like, any demonic entity, they're trying to isolate you so that they can take you out more easy. And anyway, the two managed to, hold them to their dad. He didn't believe them. And so Michaela went to work that day, and on the way home, she parked at a nearby parking lot and called her grandmother. And she told her what had happened. She told her it was something like she had never seen before. And her grandmother told her, you have to put Jennifer ash around your property as a barrier to keep you safe and ward it off, drive it off. Now, here's another tactic they could have used. If you cover a bullet in white ash, or maybe silver, or Jennifer ash mostly, and you manage to get close enough, you can shoot and overcome the spell. You can shoot this thing and it'll wound it or kill it. That's one way you can kill a skinwalker, is with by doing that sort of thing and killing them. Anyway, she asked her grandmother while they were still on the phone, "Do you think it's going to come back?" And her grandmother answered, "Yes, it knows you now. It knows who you are now. You have to get rid of this thing. And they're dangerous. You have to get rid of it." So after that, she went home that night. And she just being back there made her feel uneasy. Just very uneasy. And she went into the house, and her brother, started their night. Had some drinks, and they sat down and talked about their day. And their dad, after making dinner and feeding the kids, he said goodnight and went upstairs to bed. And a few hours passed, and the siblings were still up. And nothing really happened for a while until it was 1 o'clock in the morning, and as they were preparing to wrap up their night, all of a sudden, what started as tapping, they heard like tapping, and then pounding on the door. This thing had come back, and it was back. It really wanted to get in. It was more frustrated, and it wanted in, and started pounding on the door, trying to get in, because its ultimate goal is your death. Yes, I got a new mask. It's for my 129th birthday. That's right, I'm that old, people. I'm the king of cryptids. I'm the king of cryptids. And I'm pretty much going to be around for a long time. Anyway, like I was saying, the creature was upset, obviously. And so the two were very scared and very, freaked out about this whole situation. They were so freaked out. And so, gathering their courage, they started doing this Native American prayer, like that their grandmother had taught them. And when they started, and it wasn't like our traditional Christian, prayer. No, this was a Native American prayer. And when they did that, it started pounding even harder. It was mad. Like it was getting angry. And all of a sudden, not too long after that, their dad came down the stairs. And he was pissed. He was pissed off, people. And he started walking towards the door and was about to open it, and like the kids were, Michaela and Brian were like, "No, don't open that door." And the dad, thinking maybe it was kids, kids messing around, kids trying to harass them. He was like, "It's 1:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning." And he opened the door. And he came face to face with this thing. Brian says you could just see the blood drain from his face. You could just see this, you can just see the blood running from his face. He became, and his anger turned from anger to fear. And he after that, he pretty much had his hand on the handle, and then both of them were like, "Oh no, this is it. This is it, people. This thing's gonna attack our dad and then tear us apart. But instead of doing any of that, the creature just looked at the dad, turned around on 2 feet, and ran away. And the dad closed the door and locked the door and looked at the kids. They could tell he was scared. And he wasn't one to get scared easily. He was one of those manly men who always believed in logic. And this is what I was talking about when I said nobody truly believes in these things until it's staring at him right in the face. So, the dad, looking at his kids, told them, "It's gone. Go to bed. Go." And so, they pretty much, after that, nothing happened for the rest of the night. And so, the next morning, Michaela, as her grandmother instructed, took juniper ash and burned sage, going north to south, east to west. It's a Native American ritual to ward off evil. And when she did this, she formed what we call in supernatural standards a barrier around the house, so that even if it did come back, it couldn't get near the house. So that's what you need to, if this happens to you, do that to protect yourself. Okay? Your priority with these things is stay as safe as possible. So, as she was doing the ritual, her dad came up and he asked her, "Do you think it's going to come back?" No, he asked her, "What are you doing?" Anyway, she told her dad, "I'm making sure it doesn't come back." And he told her, and she told him, are we going to talk about it? And he's like, "No." Still in denial. Very much in denial that this couldn't have happened. Okay? This didn't happen. And pretty much after that, he never spoke about it with them again. I mean, come on. This is where if you go out in the woods and you fall for the tricks and you're in denial of what's happening, doing that can get you killed. Or worse. But you can imagine what it's going through your head when you're thinking this. But anyway, not long after that, in 2018, Michaela moved in with her fiance, and she occasionally visits the house and her brother and her father. And also, don't say my name, Josh! Anyway, she moved in with her fiance, and she pretty much, she occasionally visits the house, but she doesn't like to stay there. But her brother still lives there. And he says, you see, all of his life, he hunted and fished with his grandpa, the man that this creature had the nerve to mimic. And he was used to being in the woods all his life. But after that night, this happens with a lot of cryptid encounters. He won't go into the woods anymore. He just won't. Because he knows it came from the woods. Or somewhere where someone lived in the woods. It changed his life. And he's never forgotten that night either. And that's the end of the story, folks. But this isn't the end of this video. No. We got a couple more stories we'd like to tell you about two different other creatures that you want that I'm sure you guys will enjoy. Maybe these are cryptids that you guys have never heard of. So, with that out of the way, I want you to sit back in your lovely chairs, relax, and enjoy your low-calorie popcorn and your ice cream, because all of that's good protein for you. And enjoy your low-calorie popcorn and that sort of confessions. Maybe grab a soda while you're at it. I mean, I got a soda. So, if that story didn't creep you out, this next one takes place miles away. Also, we should point out before we go to there is that you now know that the Navajo people, respect for them, are not the only people who speak of skinwalkers. Because Michaela and her brother are part Cherokee. So they have their own version of skinwalkers. And so they're all over the place. And you need to be careful. Okay? You need to be careful. So, this next story that we're telling here, people, takes place a couple 100 miles away from Plymouth Rock. Yes, the Plymouth Rock. The rock where the Pilgrims and everybody came over to the U.S. First settlers who had the first Thanksgiving and lived peacefully with the natives. Well, not too far from Plymouth Rock sits an impenetrable bog, a place that few ever venture in, the Hockomock Swamp. Several thousand miles of untouched wilderness and swampland. And this cryptid I've never actually covered on this channel before. This is something new for all of you. And I think you'll find it interesting. Okay, so let's get into it. In the Hockomock Swamp, deep in the Hockomock Swamp, a creature that's very small is said to lurk. Something evil is said to lurk. And above all that, a terrifying creature is especially feared. The creature's name, the Puckawatchee. The Puckawatchee, you see, just saying their name out in those parts. No, you're talking about a nasty little creature. I mean, if you think skinwalkers were bad, these guys can do nasty stuff. And the Puckawatchee, just saying the name around that area, they know you're talking about a nasty little creature. according to Native American lore, the Puckawatchies are little troll-like beings who practice magic and other great abilities. And according to their lore, the Puckawatchie used to be a friendly, sweet little creature. But at one point in our history, they became angry with man and the Creator God. Welcome. And anyway, since then, people, the Puckawatchie have been something to avoid. They have a very terrible habit of using special power and abilities to lure you into the forest. Because according to legend, they can't directly attack their prey. Even though they can steal from you, they can't directly attack their prey. So, they've learned to entice them. And they have this terrible reputation of luring people deeper and deeper into the swamp, into the forest. They'll say, "Hey, come here, check this out." And before you know it, well, many know about the legend. One man actually came into contact with this trickster troll. Man's name is Bill Haruso. And he says he doesn't know much. He won't tell a lie. But he knows for sure what he saw that night after work. After work that night, in 1928, somewhere in the I think in the 80s. Anyway, Bill and his dog Sam, they decided to go for a walk on a road. It's a devil dog. Help me! Anyway, he and his dog Sam decided they were going to go for a little walk. A walk on a trail. See, in Massachusetts, where this takes place, his home was built on a small stretch of land next to the Hockomock Swamp. And anyway, he began. And anyway, after some time in the Hockomocks, he knows the land pretty well. And he and his dog, they decided to take their evening walk on a trail that passes through the swamp. So, they went on the trail and started walking, doing their normal thing. And all of a sudden there was this mist and this bright little light coming out. And here's where things get really weird, people. He says that not long after he entered the area and he saw this light, all of a sudden he started hearing something. Like a voice, per se. Yeah, and it was faint at first, and he hears this voice coming out of the mist. It said, "Here, here, Joe, we are Joe." I mean, yeah, he kept saying, it said to him, Joe, you want Joe? And all of a sudden, Sam, the dog, got super scared. And Sam wasn't a dog that was easily scared. Okay? He wasn't easily scared at all. But anyway, Sam started acting up. And just as this was happening, all of a sudden, this 4-foot creature, this little creature, walks into the circle of light. And he's looking at this thing, and he's thinking, trying possibilities, going on all through his mind. Going all through his mind, what this could be. What could this be? It's a kid dressed up for Halloween. It's someone playing a prank on me. It's an animal. And then he realizes that's no toddler. And he says it wasn't a bear, it didn't look like a bear, it didn't look like a muskrat, it didn't look like a beaver, it didn't look like a coyote or anything like that. All those things they got in those parts in the Hockomock area. He didn't know what it was. But suddenly the small creature started speaking to him, and calmly beckoning him, doing this. Here! Joe, you're Joe! Looked right at him. He didn't know what it was. Now here's the thing that this creature was doing. They just appear to be friendly people, but if you buy into the Puckawatchie mist, and you buy into that little act, and they appear to be harmless. But if you go into the ball of light, they snatch you up. And they kill you. But your death won't end, but your torment won't end there. They have the ability to imprison damn your soul. And they have the special ability to torment your soul using dark magic. And now all of this would have happened to Bill. However, this he got lucky. He grabbed his dog and started making a little turn right around it and heading back to the house. And so he started, and he got back to the house, and he told his son about this, and the son really took him seriously because he wasn't a man who made up stories. And his son could tell he was scared. But anyway, after he got home after the encounter, he did what any rational man would do in that situation to get your thoughts together. Reliving the whole moment. And
take PM meds, party face, clown face.
Anyway, he after doing what any good man would do in that situation, made himself a big pot of coffee. Yeah, a big pot of coffee. He says he kept that coffee company coming all night. reliving the whole thing one cup after the other, reliving the situation in his head, and completely thinking to himself, what was it? Should I gone up to it? What was it? What did it say? And here's where things get creepy, people. If you're ready for a scare, put it in the chat. Right now. You ready for a scare? Okay. And here's what it said. Or, this is his best translation. It said, "We want you! We want you!" We, not me. We, meaning there were more. And anyway, he has come to believe that he narrowly escaped his own death at the hands of this trickster troll. And he managed to walk away to tell the tale. And he was smart. You see, avoiding this thing's enticements is the only way to survive an encounter with this trickster troll. And there have been many reports since the 80s about this creature, run-ins with this creature. And the Hockomock Swamp is a very, very unique place. There's no place like it in New England. And sooner or later, it's gonna be shrunk down to nothing and things are gonna come out. But anyway, that's his story. And what did you think of that story? Did you all enjoy it? Do you like it? Do you want to go to Hockomock Swamp to go and find some Puckawatchies? No? Good. Okay, I got 2 stories left for all of you. But before we get into that, people, you have to understand, when it comes to Puckawatchie and all that, I'm sure you're all aware of this, but tales of trolls and small creatures and gnomes and all that have been told all over the world for centuries. And in the past, these cultures never met. So you have to think on it. Something about this must be true. This story, according to the legend of the Puckawatchie, they have lots of abilities they may be small, no more than 4 feet tall, but according to Native American legend, their powers are impressive. They have habits of using balls of light to lure you into the forest, just to get you lost or have some real nasty fun with you and make you walk off a cliff. Avoiding their enticement, just like John, is the only way to survive an encounter with this trickster troll. And that's the end of the Puckawatchie story. This last story, because I can tell, if you want any more good new videos about cryptid stories, leave it in the chat right now what kind you'd like. Because I'm open. I'm open to all kinds of cryptid creatures. Anytime now. Okay. Anyway, This last story takes place many, many centuries ago in what is now New Orleans. And many years ago, before the white man came, there was a tribe that I mentioned in another video about the Kichinawea. If you want to go check out that video, go check it out. But the story here is about how a legendary monster that I have covered in other videos, a werewolf-like monster, came to be. And it's in Louisiana, so you guys probably know what it is in Louisiana. And I just said it's a werewolf. So you probably all know what it is. Anyway, many years ago, before the white man came here to that area, there was a tribe that lived in the area that committed a deadly sin, a perverse ritual that brought forth evil. And they were a tribe of mighty warriors. They were called the Atakapa. All tribes that laid before them fell, and all their victim tribes were consumed. And I mean that literally. The Atakapa, they ate the flesh of their fallen enemies. Now, this is the part where you would probably think this is a Wendigo. But no. That's not it indeed. Anyway, the Atakpa wreaked havoc all over the territories around Louisiana, what is now Louisiana. Terrible battles were waged. Finally, after almost a long time of battle and war, two great tribes, I think one's called the Opa and the Chichimata and the Chichimacha. Say that in the chat. Say that 3 times. Chichimacha. Anyway, these two tribes banded together in an alliance to defeat the Atakapa. They fought bravely with overwhelming strength. And after a great battle, the two great tribes were victorious. The two tribes of the alliance were victorious. And if that wasn't good enough for you, wait till you hear what comes next, because this is going to get messed up. Now, the Atakapa were driven off their land and driven deep into the swamps of Louisiana. And they starved. They were starving and they felt humiliated and without justice. So what they did is they did the most stupidest thing anybody could do. They went to their shaman, their medicine man, for salvation, for answers. And the shaman responded and did a terrible, perverse ritual one that's forbidden to this day. So terrifying, so dark, evil, that few tribes today ever speak of it. No tribe today ever speaks of it. Few do, but not many tribes speak of it. The Skinwalker ritual. Their shaman reached into the darkness of the depths of the spirit world. And called upon a being that could deliver them vengeance against their enemies. And out of that darkness came a foul evil answered. The spirit being consumed the attack paw. In exchange for strength and great power was every cost of humanity. The attack paw began to spread, and it began to spread with the attack paw. They began transforming. They transformed people. And they transformed into a beast that was not quite man and not quite wolf. The Rougarou. Or loup-garou. Loup in French means wolf. And garou means shapeshifter. Or man, whichever language you're using. But yes, the Rougarou was born. It was terrible. And it's said that they've been stalking and cursing those who enter the swamp ever since. And if you want a couple good stories on the Rougarou or the Cajun werewolf, there is a video that I made a couple months back. Go check that out. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Help the channel grow. Now, I'm going to wrap up this stream because I got a lot of other stuff to do. But before I do, I'm going to put a show on for all of you. Y'all are going to get a happy show from Cryptidmaster. Are you ready? You guys are in for a treat. You guys who are new here get to hear my intro. And a little spice dance for all of you. Let me pull it up. And if you recognize this, theme, if you recognize the music, if you recognize it, please leave it in the chat or the comments, and see if you can identify it. And with that out of the way, Cryptidmaster's gonna do a little boom boom for you. Here we go. There you go, people. Now, for those of you who are new, Please like, comment, and subscribe. Help the channel reach 1,000 subscribers. Then, get this, people. When I hit 1,000, me and Cryptid Mom, I'll introduce you to her in another video. We are going to Crater Lake, Oregon. And we're going to look for not props, no fakes, but real documented evidence of Sasquatch, Bigfoot. And tell me what other cryptid creatures you want me to do in the comments below. Please like, comment, subscribe. And with all of that out of the way, we're going to end the stream here. I'm glad you all joined me for this fun. And anyway, peace out. Okay, I'm just... Hey, Cryptid Mom! Mind helping me turn off the stream? I need your help, please. Okay. Say hi to everyone and peace out, Cryptid Mom. We love you all.
Excuse my finger.
Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out. Bye.
No idea. Yeah. Okay. It's still running. What happens when
I think you hit X.
We'll try it. There is no X. Okay.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Peace out.